All right, YouTube. My name's Daryl. Welcome to the Sinister Suspension YouTube page, channel. Um, what we got going on here on our channel is I want to do more than just suspension stuff. I want to help guys maybe help pick some exhaust or talk them through some things that I've done on my bike, or even show guys how to do mods to their bikes, etc. So we're not just all about Olean suspension. This bike is going to get a full Olean setup. Olean's now offers a full cartridge for the 2017 and up touring bikes, and we're going to do the full piggyback, fully adjustable shocks on the back of this bike. Obviously, we want to advertise what we do here, so we're an Olean's dealer. We definitely want to make sure that our customers, we ride what our customers are riding. I've got a lot of suspension background in motocross and off-road racing, and this is the next stage in life for me. I really enjoy cruising. I do a lot of longer rides. So today we're working on my 2018 Streetglide. It's I'm pretty proud of this bike. I was very fortunate to find a used bike with only a couple thousand kilometers on it, and it was in a color that I really wanted. I'm not a big fan of just black Harleys. Everybody has a black Harley, and I'm a little more on the unique side. So this bike is hard candy custom. It's the shattered flake, so it's kind of a champagne with a lot of metal flake in it. So when I started to work on this bike, it came with some stuff that I already wanted: 14-inch Yaffies. It already had Vance and Hines slip-ons, etc. on it. So we wanted to make sure, for me, I like my stuff to be a certain way. So what we're working on here is this 2018. It's a 107 Milwaukee 8. And it has obviously a full stage one, so it's got the Fuel Pack FP3 tuner on it, which is very user friendly. We'll do a video down the road on that. It's got the Arlen S big sucker, but it hides behind the factory air cleaner. I haven't found an air cleaner aftermarket that I like as much as the factory one. It suits this bike very well, and maybe it gives you a little bit more of a sneaky look so that guys don't know that you're running a full stage one. This bike does have the Vance and Hines Power Duals header pipe on it, and it's also got the 4-inch twin slash slip-on mufflers. So what we're working on today here, we're in southern BC. It's February 16th. Went for a ride today, and I had a little experiment that I've been working on with my exhaust. It's not that I didn't like the sound of the exhaust or the performance of the exhaust that Vance and Hines provides here, because they do a fantastic job on their exhaust. So don't get me wrong. I didn't want my bike to sound like everybody else's. But I also don't want to build a performance bagger. I don't wheelie. I don't do burnouts. Trust me, I roast the tire away from the lights every now and then when I'm playing with the boys. But I'm not into the performance bagger thing. I just really like cruising with my bagger. So I wanted, maybe performance bagger performance, but I don't want the sound. So a lot of guys are doing 2-into-1s on these, and let's face it, this exhaust system, really at the end of the day, most of the work is done on the right hand side muffler anyway, so really it's kind of like a 2-into-1. And with Vance and Hines power chamber technology, I think realistically it gives you 2-into-1 performance with a twin exhaust look. So what I wanted to do with this bike was the exhaust itself on, say, a cold start is a little bit obnoxious. It's very hollow at high idles, so it's very kind of loud, and it doesn't sound really nice. And it's a bit obnoxious. You roll the bike outside, you fire it up, your neighbor's got to listen to you for the next 5 or 10 minutes, warm your bike up, and it's high idling and it's making all sorts of noise. I wanted a more refined sound. I wanted to make sure that my bike, had a unique sound, because it certainly does have a bit of a unique look. So what I did was I had a 2014 Fatboy Low before with a 103 in it, twin cam, and I had the Vance and Hines Super Radius exhaust on it. And the muffler inserts on that had a perforation with a fiberglass wrap on them. And the sound of that bike was great, very traditional, kind of a Harley sound with the power chamber technology, so really a 2-into-1 kind of idea. But what I wanted was I wanted that exhaust to be a little bit more aggressive, That Softail had a nice low slung look. It needed to sound a little more, aggressive and maybe get a little bit louder. I wanted a little bit of, not D-cell pop, but a little more noise on the D-cell when you're rev matching, etc. So that experiment worked really good on that bike. What I did was it had two wraps on the fiberglass matting on the muffler bodies. I took one wrap off, and then I took stainless steel wire and I clamped it tightly on there. And what happens with your fiberglass matting that you use to kill sound is if you tighten it down, it will actually do the opposite. It'll sort of make things louder. So the one complaint I did have with this exhaust system on this bike was that everybody liked kind of the sound. It sounded okay, hollow still and a little uncontrolled, but it was a bit on the quiet side. Aside from, cold starting it where it's a little louder. Once you're riding it and you're playing with it, and you're getting up in the RPM range, it just never sounded really that loud. So I tried a couple of times to ride it without the muffler inserts in, and completely obnoxious, not worth doing, and I lost a lot of bottom end. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to do the same experiment with this bike. Now the baffles on those mufflers on the 4-inch twin slash is they're a mechanical baffle, so they had no fiberglass wrap on them. So what they have is they have a spiral core. I'm going to try and get in the light here. So they have a spiral core perforation system in them, and it's a mechanical baffle. And what happens is basically they take a tube, it's about a 2-inch tube, and they perforate that tube with louvers, and as the exhaust passes by those louvers, it kills the sound. But it also makes it very hollow sounding and uncontrolled and not tuned. So what I did was my experiment this week was I went to the Honda shop and I bought a repacking kit for a motocross bike from FMF, and I cut the mat in half, and fortunately for me that mat was exactly the right size that it covers all the louvers, and then I wrapped it tightly with the stainless wire. Now that matting on there you'd think would kill all the sound and it would be super quiet. But what it did was it did two things actually. It made the exhaust much louder when you open the throttle up and you let the bike eat. So when you're accelerating, it definitely has a lot more exhaust tone. But on cold start, it's very quiet. Now I'm using quiet as a general term on a Harley here, because they're really not that quiet, but it really took the volume down, I bet you by 50% on cold start. But what it also did was really lowered the tone. So it's a much deeper, richer sound, definitely a different octave than it was before I did the wrap on them. But my excitement when I finally got to open this thing up was amazing. It's got a very 2-into-1, like a short exhaust from, like, say a club style bike, all these club style builds, that sort of rumbly short bark when you crack the throttle and they accelerate. But those bikes get a little rattly when you start to accelerate and get the RPMs up. This bike stays very smooth. That exhaust tone is extremely smooth, very tuned, very refined, and it absolutely is the perfect mix for this bike. So this experiment worked out quite well, wrapping that fiberglass matting around those mechanical baffles tightly. What it also did was it gave me a very cool sound when I start to decel. It gave me a lot more of that decel rasp. Not a whole bunch, but just enough that your touring bike sounds performance baggery, but it definitely isn't that performance bagger sound. It stays very refined, but when you crack the throttle to rev match, it gives you a really deep bark, and then it goes into its decel a little bit. So the other thing it does is when you get very aggressive, like you're doing quick downshifts to stop for a vehicle, or you come up on a quick light or something like that, it gets very mean sounding because you're rev matching. The revs are coming up as you're decelling or you're decelerating, and it definitely gives it a unique sound. Now it does mimic quite a bit a 2-into-1 exhaust, but I would say it's more like a 2-into-1 short, but you still get that really classy look of the twin exhaust, which I like. And I don't get the obnoxious tear your head off the whole time you're riding sound. When you hit the highway and you're at 60 miles an hour and you set the cruise, it goes back to that very deep rumble, but it doesn't overpower the stereo. It doesn't bother your ears. It's a, like I say, it's a very tuned sound. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I struggled to find on YouTube anywhere on the internet period where guys had experimented taking mechanical baffles and wrapping them or trying to tailor the sound of their bike. And so this worked out really well. I don't think doing a sound comparison on YouTube is really the way to go. I think me just explaining it to guys, because I think that is probably one of the most common exhausts on touring bikes right now, is still this sort of traditional dual exhaust. A lot of guys are starting to go to these power duals or similar systems, like I believe MagnaFlow has one as well, and so a lot of guys are doing that. And let's face it, most of the work is done on this right hand side, because the flaw in this system is the left hand exhaust. The muffler on the left hand side really does about a third of the work that the one on the right does. Even just temperatures from the right side to the left side is off the charts different. So thrilled with the sound, absolutely beside myself with the performance. I feel like I gained some torque, just seat of the pants feel I gained some torque, but maybe after 5,500 RPM I lost a tiny bit of that pull right till the rev limiter at 64, but I don't typically play up there a lot. The only time you really go there is when you're just trying to stretch its legs and, you know, see if it'll do it. And really I shift kind of in the fives anyway if I'm pulling out to pass somebody or whatever. So we're gonna do some more videos down the road, so follow the page, like us. If you're looking for Öhlins suspension for your Harley, by all means contact me. We can definitely hook you up. We're in southern BC here. We're actually located in Penticton, and we're passionate about the sport. I got a lot of experience in the suspension world. I think we're dealing with the best products for Harleys on the planet. Öhlins, you can't beat the quality, you can't beat the warranty. And we're going to be doing some more work on this bike in the coming months, and I'll post the videos, so tell me what you think. Sorry I'm not going to do an exhaust comparison because I feel like it just doesn't work. I think I've explained it well enough that it's worth the $15 to go buy the packing, the 20 minutes in your garage to do what I did. Go try it for yourself. I think you'll be thrilled. I think it'll give your bike a unique sound as well. I know there's other slip-on mufflers out there that have mechanical baffles in, and you can do the exact same thing to them. So we'll see you in the future, and thanks for watching my video today.